In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Sceencast-O-Matic to make a recording that you can then save and share with your students. We're going to be using the Sceencast-O-Matic software. If you haven't already watched our video and had the software installed on your machine, please follow those instructions first. So again, the software we're going to use is Sceencast-O-Matic, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up. You can either do that by browsing for it in the Start menu, which is right here. Sceencast-O-Matic, or you can search for it by clicking here and typing Sceencast-O-Matic. Once the software launches, you're going to want to hit the record button. So I'm going to do that. And you'll see it drops you into this recording mode, and you have a couple of options. One is you can do a screen recording, which will be anything that's showing on the screen plus your voice that's being recorded through the system microphone. If you wanted to make a video of yourself giving a presentation, you could click on the webcam button, and you'll see that that opens up the web camera. You also have the option to record both. And what that does is put a small video of your web camera in the bottom corner. So you see it there. And then it captures also the full screen. But for the purposes of this presentation, I'm just going to do the screen recording with my voice. You can set a max time for your recording, but in most cases, I don't think that's very useful. You can set a size. I generally will set this to full screen, but you can select a smaller size window if you want to record just what's inside of that box. But again, I usually set this on full size. By default, it's going to capture from the microphone that's on your machine, but you can also decide if you want to add recording computer audio. So that's anything that would play out of the speakers. So if you're going to show a video in your recording or you want to play a music file, you might want to turn on recording computer sounds. By default, that's off. So once you've made your choices and are ready to go, simply click the record button. It's going to give you a countdown sequence, as you see here. And then from that point on, you see in the bottom corner it's recording. Anything you do on the screen now is being recorded. So if I wanted to open up a PowerPoint file and walk through that presentation, I could go through in different slides. I could open up a website and have a talk about whatever is on that website. Pretty much anything you want to show on the screen, it will capture along with your voice into the recording. Once you're done, simply hit the pause button. That's helpful too if you want to pause the recording, take a break, and then hit start again and pick back up. But in this case, I'm done with my recording, so I'm going to hit done. And now you'll see it's going to give you two options. One is to just go ahead and save the file and be done, and it will save that to a video file for you. But in most cases, you're going to want to hit edit video file because you're going to want to do a little bit more work here before you post this for your students. Perhaps the most important thing that you're going to need to do after you make the recording is add captions to it. This is important so that we make sure all of our videos are ADA compliant. To do that, hit the plus button, and Sceencast-O-Matic has a great speech-to-text feature. It's not going to get it 100% perfect, but it does give you a good starting point for your video transcription. So have that selected and hit start. And you'll see it's going to break the audio recording up into little snippets. Obviously, you'll see there are mistakes here, but it's very easy to listen to these little snippets, and then you can simply edit the transcription that's going to appear on the screen so that it matches what's being said. So you would just simply go through the different parts of the video file, listen to it, and then edit whatever needed to be edited, and when you're done, hit OK. And then those transcriptions will now be included as part of the recording. Just kind of walk you through the interface a little bit here. You can scroll through the video on this timeline down at the bottom. If I wanted to listen from a certain point, I could click there and hit play, and it'll play from that certain point in time. So it's nice to be able to move around the presentation. Another thing you may want to do, see if I can find a good spot here. Say, for example, in this spot, I'm talking about something in the file and I wanted to add a simple overlay to point something out. You can use this tools menu here. There are a lot of different things you can do, so I'm not going to go into every feature. But I did want to at least show one simple thing you could do, which would be to add a text overlay. And that will just simply pop up and allow you to add an overlay to your video file that will appear during the recording. So this is an example over. And you'll see at the bottom in the timeline that blue section that's been added is where this overlay will show up during the recording. So it's going to fade in and fade out in that window that's shown on there. I can use these little pins to shrink or lower that, or I could move it around in the presentation if I wanted to. So if I wanted to have it at the beginning, I could do that. I could have it here where I was. And then again, you can click in this presentation and hit the play button to see what that's going to look like when it comes in on the screen, and make sure you adjust it the way you really want it to look. When you're done, hit OK, and now that overlay has been added into there. You can always go back and edit it after the fact as well. Another simple thing you might want to do is cut the presentation. You have dead space in the middle of the recording, or it went long and you want to cut off the end or the beginning. That's another simple thing you may want to do. So again, you'll go to this Tools menu, and up at the top, you're going to select Cut. And it may be hard to see on the screen, but it's going to add this red window. And anything that's inside of this red window is going to be cut when I hit this OK button at the top here. So just find what you would want to have in there and then hit OK, and it will cut that out of the presentation. Again, I'm going to show you some tutorials that will walk you through all of the advanced features and all of the things you can do in here, but these are some of the basics to get you going. So now that I've made my changes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, pause that, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm done. And now you'll see it gives me the option to save my video file, which I want to do. You can go ahead and give it a name. So I'm going to say example video capture. You can select what folder you want it to go to. Right now I'm on the desktop, but you could browse to another folder somewhere else on your computer. Again, I'm just going to stick with my desktop. You have your captions are included in there. This highlight cursor is a nice feature. That just adds, you'll see it down here, this yellow circle around the mouse on the screen. It just makes it easier for people to see what you're pointing out or what you're showing with the mouse if you're doing that in your presentation. But you can hide that if you want to. And then at the very bottom, you have the option to adjust the quality of the video recording. I like to keep it on high because I like the higher quality video. But if you're trying to email this to students, you may want to select a lower quality source, normal or low, so that it shrinks the file size so that it's easier to send. Once you've made those choices, go ahead and hit publish. Depending on the length of the recording, this could take a while. If you've made an hour-long video, this may take 15, 20 minutes to save this file. But once it's done, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to exit out of this. And you'll see here now, I have the video that I made. It's got my captions down there at the bottom. If I scroll in, you'll see it's got that text overlay I made. So now I have got my video file that I can share with my students. From this point, you can either upload it into your Moodle course, you could put it into your Google Drive folder and share that folder or that video file with your students through Google Drive. Or if it's small enough, you could email it to them. So let's take a look at this video file as an example. I'm going to right click on it and go to Properties. And you'll see that this video file is only 2.75 megabytes. I believe the default, or I'm sorry, not the default, but the max file size you can attach in Gmail is 25 megabytes. So you'll see this is well below that limit. So I could email this file out as an attachment if I wanted to. So those are the basics. That's what you need to know to get started with this. Again, there's a lot more you can do with this software, and I want to point you to some resources that you can use. So if you go to the Sceencast-O-Matic website, right up here at the top, you'll see there's a tutorials link. If you click that, you'll see, I'm going to scroll down towards the bottom, they have this all tutorials section. And they have all kind of videos in here that will walk you through the different things or the different options you have in this software. So definitely check this out. Again, I'm just covering the basics in this video, but there is a lot more you can do with this software. So anyhow, I hope that gets you guys going. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our email address is itshelp@eckerd.edu. Thank you.